Don't you hate it when you stand in front of your closet and you say, I've got nothing to wear? And we always go back to our closet staples, those comfy, tried and true items that just make us feel good. Let me share with you a brand that does just that. It's Jenny Kane. It's kind of that California brand through and through, those classic timeless staples. It's quality and it's just a style that will never, never end. And I think classics are quintessential points to have in your closet. It's like the new uniform. And if you're looking for a new one, go to jennykane.com. Our listeners get 15% off their first order when they use code Dominique at checkout. That's 15% off your first order at JENNIKAYNE.com. Promo code Dominique. Let getting dressed be one less thing you worry about. What do you say we bring in Lumi, one of our sponsors today? Lumi, as you know, is a whole body deodorant. In fact, they've got deodorant for every part of the body. And what they talk about is they can treat odor in any part of the body. I like Lumi because I know it's guaranteed odor protection up to 72 hours. And like I said, it can be used anywhere on the body, not just the usual spots where we typically use deodorant. Can I just suggest Lumi's starter pack for you? It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, kind of like a mini body wash or the deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for my listeners, new customers get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with code OVER50 at lumideodorant.com. Hey, that equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit lumideodorant.com and use code OVER50. A topical treatment that I want to share with you is Vegamour. A lot of you reach out to me. All of us ladies in midlife, one of the natural side effects, unfortunately, is hair loss and just thinning hair. And you're looking for ways to grow hair, to thicken your hair. Vegamour is a great product. It's 100% cruelty-free. It's never formulated with potentially harmful chemicals like parabens or even hormones. You can elevate your hair wellness routine this year with Vegamour. For a limited time, get 20% off your first subscription by going to vegamour.com/over50. Use code OVER50 at checkout. That's VEGAMOUR.com/over50. Code OVER50 to save 20% on your first order. VEGAMOUR.com/over50. Code OVER50. Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Over 50 and Flourishing. This is a total reboot. I'm recording this episode Saturday morning before the podcast airs on Monday. This was not part of the plan, but sometimes I think some of the best conversations happen out of spontaneity and just what's going on in real life. So let me tell you what sort of spurs this conversation. As you know, I recently moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area for a job opportunity, which is so exciting. And many of you already know about that. And I'll be co-hosting a morning show on Merritt Street Network, and we launch on April 2nd. So I've taken you on this journey with me. And, you know, that includes everything. You know me, from moving from Houston to moving into my townhome here, and just all the changes, the new faces, and everything that's going on. So in this journey, I have shared with you just sort of the transition, what that has looked like. And as you know, I am not of the mindset that everything has to be coming up roses on social media. I think it's so important to share the journey, to share the ups, the downs, the good, the bad, the ugly, the in-between, the everything. You know, that's life. And if I'm not willing to go there and I'm not willing to be vulnerable and express those things to you, then I feel like I'm doing you a disservice. And I've shared with you in the past that, you know, not that long ago, but I was so focused on everything just looking great. You know, life's great. Everything's wonderful. Yay. You know, in this fabulous. And behind the scenes, you know, there were moments and times where things weren't so pretty and fabulous. So as I became more transparent on this platform, many of you reached out to me and you were expressing your gratitude for that. And, you know, thank you for sharing that. You're no different than the rest of us. And it's not perfect all the time. And it's not great. And it's not, you know, coming up roses. So there was a post that I put out last week, and it was about
my my trying to find a yoga studio. So it was so funny because, as you know, I am very much a creature of habit. I like my routine. I've expressed what those things are and what they look like. Sleep is a biggie. Practicing yoga and a certain level of fitness is really important to me. Eating healthy, having ritual. I'm just a creature of habit. I find that the older we get, and when we're in this midlife space, those things serve us very, very well. So I had been struggling to find a yoga studio or a place where I really, really connected. And I'm not in the heart of Dallas, and I'm not in the heart of Fort Worth. I'm kind of in an in-between space that puts me closer to work. So there's just not as much as you would have being in the center of a major metropolitan area. As you know, when I was in Houston, I was kind of in the heart of the Houston area in a place called River Oaks District. It was a walkable mix of high-rises, mid-rises, shopping, restaurants, you name it. My yoga studio was literally half a mile away from my house. So everything was right there in close proximity. The meal service company that I used was around the corner. Healthy restaurants were around the corner. So I was in my system and in my routine there. And when I came here, as many of you know, those of you who have moved and changed locations and had to acclimate to a new place, you've got to discover what those places are for you and where they are. And it's a journey. It's a process. It's not overnight. So I was expressing my journey in this particular social media post, and I'll read it to you. And it says, "It is what it is until it isn't. You always hear the first part, but rarely what follows the comma. My yoga teacher said that at the end of class yesterday, and it resonated. This was my first time in a class since moving from Houston. I hadn't found my place yet, and I was feeling out of sorts, missing my old studio and how I felt in it. Yoga is my jam, where I feel a quiet strength, yin yang. Different work hours, more restaurant food than usual, and just acclimating to a new place had me not quite feeling like myself. So nearly 2 months later, after search, reflection, and some healthy grace, I guess it's true. It is what it is until it isn't." So the meaning that I took about that line that she said, "It is what it is until it isn't," is that change is inevitable. And oftentimes we hear that expression, well, it is what it is, meaning just accept it. It's just what it is, and you got to deal. And what I have found, and I think what you have found too, is that yes, maybe in a moment it is what it is, but eventually it won't be until it isn't. So for me, that was applicable to this 2-month journey of not quite finding my way, not quite finding my space, and feeling so disconnected from how good I feel when I'm in that zone and in that space. And I was just lying on my mat and I thought, so true. It is what it is until it isn't. And here I am on my mat and it isn't. So, but it was so interesting because I think the tone had everybody so concerned. And so there were like almost 300 comments and people are saying, you've got this and you'll adjust and, don't worry. And I'm praying for you. And, maybe you shouldn't have left Houston and, on and on. I mean, it was very, very sweet and tenderhearted. And there was a lot of care, compassion, and concern for my mental well-being. And I so greatly appreciate that. And many of you even expressed your own journey of moving and the transition of getting settled into a new place and finding your places and finding that connectivity. And, you offered so much encouragement, like you'll get there. And, don't worry, it'll come. And it may take a year, but it will feel like home. And, I love that. I loved how sweet and wonderful it was. But this is a part of me sharing with you this journey. And, what you've seen so far is that I lucked out big time. I mean, I got a job opportunity that absolutely blew my mind. And it was kind of a no-brainer. There was no way I could or would say no. And I was also at the right place and phase in my life to be able to say yes to this. Had this happened a year earlier, my son would have been a senior in high school. I couldn't have left. There's absolutely no way. My life at the time, my mother was alive, and I was caring for her and making sure that she was able to live independently. I couldn't leave, and if I did, it would mean bringing her up here. How would that work? There were so many things that happened in my life, big change things, right? And the subject of this podcast is about change because I think it's critical to talk about how we process and how we handle it. And I've learned so much about myself with all the change that has happened in my life and how I have tried my best to process it, work through it, and not let it sideline or sidetrack me in any way. And it's not to say that certain change won't level you. It will. I mean, the death of a parent, loved one, that's brutal. That is an emotional rug getting pulled out from underneath you, and you don't plan for it. It's not something you've prepared for. It is change that you just have to deal with. So there are two different types of change. There's the change that happens to us involuntarily, and then there's the change that we choose to bring into our lives. And it's really had me analyzing how I want to handle change in my life to be able to make it work for me instead of work against me. So that is what I would like to talk about today. And it's really inspired by your comments from that social media post, many of you talking about change, many of you acknowledging the enormous amount of change that's taken place in my life as you followed me over the past couple of years, from ending a 28-year news career with my local TV station, launching a book, pivoting full-time into entrepreneurship, going through massive personal changes and divorce, relationships, friendships, new change, new home, letting go of all of my old furniture. I mean, literally, if anybody has sort of wiped the chalkboard clean, I think you could say it's me. And I've had so many of you ask, oh my gosh, how are you handling all of this? So I want to share that with you in today's podcast. If you are going through personal change, and you know what, I don't know of one woman in this stage of life, or really any stage of life, who isn't going through major change, job change, relationship change, physical change in your body. Change is inevitable. It is what it is until it isn't. And I want to launch into my top 5 ways that I am handling and managing, embracing, and thriving through change right after this commercial break. Don't you hate it when you stand in front of your closet and you say, I've got nothing to wear? And we always go back to our closet staples, those comfy, tried and true items that just make us feel good. Let me share with you a brand that does just that. It's Jenny Kane. It's kind of that California brand through and through, those classic timeless staples. It's quality, and it's just a style that will never, never end. And I think classics are quintessential points to have in your closet. Trends, they come and go, but classic pieces, they stand the test of time. And I'm talking about sweaters. I have a cashmere sweater from Jenny Kane that I'm obsessed with. They've got dresses, lightweight. It's just a closet staple and something you will feel perfectly comfortable in. It's like the new uniform. And if you're looking for a new one, go to jennykane.com. Our listeners get 15% off their first order when they use code Dominique at checkout. That's 15% off your first order at JENNIKAYNE.com. Promo code Dominique. Let getting dressed be one less thing you worry about. What do you say we bring in Lumi, one of our sponsors today? Lumi, as you know, is a whole body deodorant. In fact, they've got deodorant for every part of the body. And what they talk about is they can treat odor in any part of the body. You probably know that it is inspired by an OB-GYN who invented Lumi. And 6 years later, her game-changing whole body deodorant has now earned more than 300,000 5-star reviews from people just like me who like to smell great, feel confident from head to toe. Again, I like Lumi because I know it's guaranteed odor protection up to 72 hours. And like I said, it can be used
anywhere on the body, not just the usual spots where we typically use deodorant. It's baking soda free, paraben free, and pH balanced. Can I just suggest Lume Starter Pack for you? It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, kind of like a mini body wash or the deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for my listeners, new customers get $5 off a Lume Starter Pack with code OVER50 at LumeDeodorant.com. Hey, that equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit LumeDeodorant.com and use code OVER50. Welcome back to today's podcast episode. I am talking about change and how to manage it, handle it, not get leveled by it, how to embrace it, what I'm doing. All I can share is what I'm doing. I'm not an expert by word or by degree. I think I'm an expert by life. I'm a life expert on change. I when I reflect and I think back to all of the crazy things that I've done, I think in a way I'm a bit of a change junkie when it comes to the change that I can control. And that's where we're going to start. The change you can control. Many of you who followed me on television news, there was always this joke, every 6 months, Dominique's hair is going to be different. I have always leaned into that type of change. I love physical change. I love the artistic creation that comes in that type of change. So that's kind of been a form of my self-expression where a lot of people may be so just enveloped by fear and afraid to do those types of things. That's kind of been a bold area of my life to tackle change and to enjoy it and lean into it, to learn from it, to like it, to not like it. I've just found so much growth in that aspect of change. So as you know, it's not something that I have shied away from. And I think maybe that's why I've been able to handle so many situations relatively well, is that I've always enjoyed it. And that's the thing. It's really the mindset of how you feel about change. And I know I've had many conversations with people who kind of writhe and shrink when it comes to change. They hate it. It sort of rattles their nervous system. They feel out of sorts, out of place, out of sync. There's fear, the what if. And I think the first thing is we have to acknowledge change is going to happen, whether by choice or by not. Or not. It's going to happen. So how are we going to lean into that? And I think the first thing that I'd like to talk about is, what can I do? What can I do? How can I take responsibility for the change in this situation? And this really is about empowerment, because if you take yourself out of the victim role in change, I've been hurt, my husband left me, or, I lost something, I lost a job, I lost a parent, there's loss in the situation. What responsibility can I take? What can I do so that I am not paralyzed by this situation and putting myself in a place where I am unable to act, unable to do something for myself, unable to feel empowered? And I think that when we empower ourselves and we reflect, I think we look for these opportunities. Maybe it is self-reflection. Maybe it is, what was my role in a certain situation? Did I contribute to a situation that affected change in my life? And do I need to self-analyze? Do I need to reflect on that? Do I need to look at my behaviors, my actions, my lack of actions in the situation? And I think also it'll help us feel less stuck. And that's the thing. Change can make people feel stuck. And when you take responsibility for something and you say, okay, I need to reflect, I need to analyze, and I need to act. I need to do something here so that I can learn from the situation. I can not suffer in the situation. I can use it as a tool to teach me something about myself. And I think oftentimes, maybe the situation in and of itself, maybe you had no role in it. Maybe, it is the death of a loved one or a parent. And there are two options. We can either curl up in a ball and not live,
Or we can say, all right, how can I process this? How can I honor, acknowledge my feelings? How can I be true and let it out and express, but also live, also activate my thoughts, my decisions, my intentions, so that I'm not stuck, to be able to talk about these things, to be able to reflect on these things, to be able to share these things with somebody. I think that we can learn from ourselves, we can learn from others in situations. And I know that, when change happened to me, that really had nothing to do with my actions. It just landed. Things happen, right? There's that expression, SH happens. So sometimes it does. And what are we going to do? What are we going to do in that moment? And it oftentimes means just digging in your heels and saying, I've got to be strong. I can't be weak in this situation. I have to make decisions. I have to act. I have to move forward. I cannot be stuck here in this moment. And whatever that takes, whether it's counseling, whether it's talking to somebody, whether it is enlisting the support and the help of your own personal network, I think taking responsibility and taking action in the moment to do something, reading, praying, whatever it is, we must move forward. We cannot get stuck in the past. We cannot get stuck in constantly, kind of replaying the tape of woe is me, woe is me, woe is me. Got to move forward. So I think that has been very helpful for me. Just, what is my role in the situation? What's my responsibility in the situation? I remember when my mother passed, I was not prepared for it in any way. And for those of you who knew and saw my mom, you knew she was so vibrant and so healthy. She was the healthiest 87-year-old I'd ever seen in my entire life. And I never in my wildest dreams would have conjured a, massive cardiac event happening at dinner with friends. Never. And I will never, ever forget this. I was at that restaurant and she was in the back of the ambulance while they're, relentlessly trying to perform CPR on her. And you know how you just know. And I just had that feeling. And after they were able to get a pulse, and I was following the ambulance to the hospital, and I just tears were streaming down my face in absolute disbelief. And I remembered saying out loud, all the way to the hospital, God, it's your will. It's your will. It's your will, not mine. It's your will. And I knew that. And I knew that I had to let go of any sense of control that I felt I had in that. But I also had to remind myself that during those days of, when they tried to save her and it was just impossible, that I had to take that responsibility for how I was going to handle that, how I was going to handle the process of dealing with the death of a parent, decisions that have to be made, financial things, practical things, apartment things, personal things. I was so ill prepared for that. And yet I just had to deal. And so my feeling of taking responsibility was just that. What could I do in this moment to empower me and to strengthen me to deal with all that I had to deal with? And, I had an amazing team, amazing support group through that time. And I just kept pushing and putting one foot in front of the other and doing what I had to do. And I just think that, honestly, when it comes to change that you can't control, it is the best thing you can do for yourself to feel empowered in that situation. Number 2, take care. Take care. I will tell you that no matter the type of change, the one thing that I have learned for myself, and that is where my self-care practice comes in, is I am no good to anybody or myself if I don't do the things that I've got to do to fuel my tank. And sleep, exercise, meditation, prayer, relaxation, time alone time in reflection, time walking and being in nature. We all have our different modalities of what taking care looks like, what self-care looks like. And, it can be so hard in the midst of change. Sometimes you're going a million miles an hour, where it's like somebody hit the gas and everything on the sidelines is just streaming by you at warp speed, streaming. And you're just reaching out and you're trying to grasp at whatever it is that you've got to handle and take care of and process and do. And it's overwhelming. It's absolutely overwhelming. And I have found that in the midst of change, in the midst of it all, good, bad, or indifferent, right? Because there's all different types of change that can happen to us. The best way to handle ourselves in the situation is to simply handle ourselves and do the things that make us feel great. And we all have a different list of what that looks like. We all know what that is. And maybe you don't. Maybe that's not something that you've honored in yourself or have taken the time or made the time to honor in yourself. I mean, some people love spending time in the kitchen and cooking and making things. And for them, that's their cathartic outlet. Some people enjoy, quiet walks. Some people enjoy reading a book. I mean, we all have different ways. I encourage anybody who's going through any kind of change in life to just press into those moments of self-care. And we may not have the time that we normally have to be able to do those things, but even if it's just a little moment of reflection, a little moment of, you guys know I love Jesus Calling by Sarah Young, those daily devotionals. They literally take a minute to read, a minute. But that minute can right the ship, can put my head on center, can get me where I need to be, and to help me in the moment to better process the change and process myself within the change. That's number 2. We're going to thank our sponsors and come back with number 3 right after the break. If you guys watch my YouTube platform, you know that my dear friend and right-hand gal, Courtney, has been sharing her hair journey with you, and she's done all kinds of things to be able to treat hair loss. I mean, she went through it at an early age, and she's used topical treatments before, along with hair extensions that she's had done recently. But a topical treatment that I want to share with you is Vegamour. A lot of you reach out to me. All of us ladies in midlife, one of the natural side effects, unfortunately, is hair loss and just thinning hair. And you're looking for ways to grow hair, to thicken your hair. Vegamour is a great product. It's 100% cruelty-free. It's never formulated with potentially harmful chemicals like parabens or even hormones. The Hair Grow Serum is a serum that you basically apply topically. Put it on your hair before you style, before you go to bed. Do it every single day. Trust me, you're going to get great results. You can elevate your hair wellness routine this year with Vegamour. For a limited time, get 20% off your first subscription by going to vegamour.com/over50. Use code over50 at checkout. That's vegamour.com/over50. Code over50 to save 20% on your first order. vegamour.com/over50. Code over50. A lot of us are into holistic health and wellness these days, looking for ways to balance our hormones, reduce inflammation, have more energy. The list goes on and on. Have you heard of a brand called Boncharge? It's a company that has a wide range of products to treat all kinds of things like wrinkles and fine lines, sore jaw, eczema. Now I'm talking specifically about the red light face mask, which is what I have and I use. It also helps with scar tissue, wound healing, relaxation, razor burns, even ingrown facial hair. The list goes on and on. Again, that red light face mask, you only need to use 10 to 20 minutes each day. You can do anything. I mean, if you're cooking, put it on, doing the laundry, even just relaxing on the couch and doing some breath work. No flicker, sleek and lightweight design, and a 1-year warranty. Boncharge ships worldwide and in rapid time. Go to boncharge.com/over50. Use coupon code over50 to save 15%. That's boncharge.com/over50. Use coupon code over50 and save 15%. Welcome back to today's episode of Over 50 and Flourishing. We're talking about change and how I've been handling it and just life lessons that I've learned from processing change in my own life, especially the warp speed change that has happened over the past couple of years, and most notably, probably the past 6 to 8 months. It's been kind of a wild ride. If you're watching on YouTube, I changed locations because my light died. And welcome to the joys of technology. I'll tell you what, I just personally, I feel like I'm snake bit when it comes to cameras and batteries and memory cards and mics. It's like every shoot, there's always something. Indeed, how do we handle change? Look what we did. We pivoted. There we go. A lesson right there in and of itself. Just pivot. And don't get frustrated by it, which ironically leads to number 3, which I've called stinking thinking. How are we thinking about the change? It's funny. I'm telling you, things just happen for a reason. So, Courtney and I were laughing. We're like, okay, we're just going to move over here now. And I said, how many times has this happened to us? And there have been times when I've just been thinking to myself, what is the deal? Why do I always seem to have some technology issue with any shoot that I do? And I can get lost in that loop and the frustration of it and the fact that it slows me down and this and that. I mean, there are a million ways to go with that conversation, right? But the way I choose to go and how I'm reframing that is, well, it's making me learn. It's making me malleable. It's making me also reflect what matters here, right? What matters is the technology and the things falling apart. Does that matter? Or the fact that we're figuring it out and we can put together a podcast and put together content that's going to affect, hopefully, change, thought, ideas, and inspiration. And so if I shift my thinking to what really, really matters, and, then it's not so much about the light going out. It's about turning a light on inside somebody. It's about being a light. It's about what matters. It's the big picture. So that's kind of why I put stinking thinking as number 3, because it's really how we see change and the words that we speak in our minds and out loud, because that will determine your thoughts and that will determine your actions. And not every aspect of change is a pretty aspect. Not every aspect is good. Some of it may be better than what you've had. Some of it may be a little bit more challenging than what you've had. So where are we going to put our headspace? What are we going to focus on? Are we going to keep playing the loop of, oh, well, I don't have this, or, oh, this isn't the same, or, oh, this isn't better, or, oh, I'm frustrated with this, and think about it and then articulate it, and you're putting it out in the universe. And, I truly believe that what you speak over yourself in your life is exactly what's going to come back to you. If you're complaining and you're not happy about it and you're not liking it, well, then those things are going to continue to come your way. Or are you going to choose to highlight what's working? What's the good in the change? What's the good in the process? Maybe you've changed environments and the environment isn't quite as fulfilling as what you came from. But maybe the reason for the change was a new career opportunity. And that's an environment that's challenging you. It's growing you. It's stretching you. It's teaching you patience. It's teaching you new things, new lessons, tapping into new creativities, new ways of thinking, new ways of operating, new ways of working with people. So there's growth there. And even in that growth can be some frustration, but it's like, what am I getting out of this? Am I growing as a human? Am I learning? Am I being stretched? Am I being challenged? Is there a reason for this? We all know that the greatest change that happens in our lives, the greatest impact, is when it gets ugly, when it's dirty, when it's yucky, when it feels horrible. When it feels horrible, we tend to run from it. But I truly, truly believe that God gives us the horrible to make us better people, to grow us and to teach us things about ourselves and about life and about each other. And when I reflect on my life, all those easy, wonderful, and it great, this is wonderful. Yeah, those times were great and wonderful and lovely. But did I learn as much? Did I grow as much? Did I evolve? No, those are the moments where we get to coast after the work, and everything serves a purpose. One doesn't happen without the other. It's a constant up and down. It's a peak, it's a valley. It's a peak, it's a valley. And it's necessary. So my modality has been, all right, catch your thinking. If you're struggling, if it's hard, if it's ugly, acknowledge it. And here's the challenging part. And this is what I do. I, as you know, pray daily. And in my prayer, I will thank God for the ugly. And I know that sounds so counterintuitive, but I know He's using it to shape me in ways that I may not know or understand in the moment. And I have to honor that, and I have to acknowledge that and recognize the process. So I will say, thank you, God. Thank you for this hardship. Thank you for this difficulty. Thank you for this stress, this discomfort, because I know you're using it in my life to help me and to make me better and to make me understand and to see things and to be closer to you. So those are the things that I catch myself doing. And, I think we have to slow down and acknowledge our thought process and to catch ourselves mid-thought when we are constantly harping on the negative. And it's time to say, okay, how's that serving me? What's that going to do for me? Take a deep breath. Read a passage of something that inspires you. Help you to feel a little bit more control of your brain and your brain space and what you're doing with it, because your thought pattern is so incredibly important and is the roadmap to where you're going to head in life. Your thoughts will dictate your actions. So be very, very good guardians of thought. And I catch myself all the time with this. And the next thing that I'm going to talk about is an area where I truly struggle. Because if you're a planner like me, it's really, really hard not to get caught up in number 4, which is I'm calling there's no time like the present. And I say that because that's a reminder to myself. There's no time like right now. Right now, this moment, this is where my area of focus needs to be. And and you may be nodding your head at this point saying, oh yeah, I get you, girl. I plan. I love a plan. I love laying things out. I like to know what next month is going to look like, how I'm going to tee up for that, the next 3 months, the next year, what's the goal, what's the mission, what's the this, what's the that. And I can get so caught up in future thinking and future plans that I miss out on the moment and I miss out on today. And not only that, we're always asked to in Scripture to keep our head in today. Today is the day the Lord has made. Today is the day where my focus needs to be. Why? Because we don't know what tomorrow holds. We can have all these great grandiose plans, and that's good and fine. We don't know what tomorrow holds. What's that expression? Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift, which is why it's called the present. So I remind myself, today is the gift. Today is the gift. And the minute I start getting looped into that forward thinking of over planning, over prognosticating, wondering, that's when the worry starts to set in. The worry of how will I do this? Will I hit this benchmark? What am I going to do when this happens? What am I going to do when that happens? I need to plan it out. I need to have an idea. And yes, I get it. You don't want to go through life just sort of haphazardly and without thought. Plans are great. Plans are wonderful. Having ideas, that's great. But all I have to say is that life can totally surprise you and sideline you no matter how many great, fabulous plans that you've made. I mean, look at me now. I'm in a furnished apartment a furnished townhouse that's not mine. None of my stuff is in it. I'm in a new town at a new job. Could I have planned for any of this? Heck no. No way. But that's the thing. This didn't align with my plans. It turned out to be better than my plans. So that's what I want to encourage you is that keep your head in today. Please don't overextend your thought process and your headspace and your worry and get you out of today, because here's what I found, that when I do that, I'm not as good for the people in my life that I need to be. If I'm in today and I'm in the moment and I'm present, then I am present for those that I love. I am present for myself. I'm giving gratitude for the beautiful sunshine that's out there today. I'm giving gratitude for, oh my gosh, today's Saturday. Wow, I have a free day to myself. What am I going to do? I may go for a walk. I may go to a yoga class. I may do some shopping and buy a new camera that, won't go out on me and, make me look better or whatever. But that's the thing. I'm present. I'm not focused on, oh my gosh, I'm a few weeks away from doing a morning show and I'm going to have to be up at 4:45 every morning. And that's going to mean I got to go to bed at 8. And that's going to mean dinner's going to be at 5:30 and I need to start. No, yes, I have to plan for those things and prepare, but am I going to get caught up in the worry of that and how I'm going to handle that and how my body's going to process that? It will. It will. And I'm here because it's by design and I will handle it by design. And today is the day that I'm going to focus on. And so I want to encourage you to please keep your head in the present. And sometimes if it means just to take some time to relax, do some deep breaths, just get yourself out of your headspace, focus on today, then you're going to be okay. Because I know that has really, really helped me. And now we are on to number 5, and that is find what matters to you. So, resilient people will see change as an opportunity rather than something to fear. And I think that's where maybe my strength in all of this has lied, is that I see change as an opportunity and not something that I'm afraid of. And I'm grateful for that. Was I born with some of that? Maybe. Is it learned for many people? Maybe. Is it a major hurdle and challenge to overcome because your innate and your intuitive reaction to change can be a fearful one? And that's an area that you have to conquer and work on and press into? Maybe. Does it mean that there haven't been wild elements of fear in the change that I have experienced in my life? No. I mean, there's been a mixed bag of all of it. What I do find is that if I allow myself to pursue the change that I know is going to light my fire, that I know is going to make me a better person, to take some bold risks. Right? I mean, I talk about this a lot in my book, Life Makeover, bold risk taking and moving forward, and how you can see change as such an opportunity to be able to grow and discover your purpose, your passions. And it's, I compare it to the leap off of the high dive. Seems scary as heck. You look down, the odds of anything bad happening to you are pretty minimal. But it's that giant leap that sometimes we have to take, that leap of faith, to be able to go through change because we know it's leading us to something that is being spoken to us. So it's that seed that's planted inside. And what do we do with that? What do we do? And that's when we have these defining moments, and I've noticed this in my life too. We've hit a crossroad and there is this opportunity. Do I go this way or do I choose the safe path? And do I stay where it's comfortable? Do I stay where everything is known? Do I stay in a situation that, is good, is, working great? Or do I move forward and towards something that has come at me and I have to ask myself, where's this coming from? Is this coming from a seed that's planted, or is this random and rogue? You have to analyze those things and make those decisions. And are they things that are truly intended for you or not? And that's where deep thought and prayer comes in. And is it just simply fear of change that's holding you back? Fear of the unknown? I think that if it matters to you, and this is the pursuit type of change, you want to change how you're doing things in life. You want to change how you look. You want to change how you are eating. You want to change your physical appearance. You want a career change. Something's not speaking to you anymore, or you need to examine a relationship. Does it matter? Why does it matter? What is it speaking to? Is it speaking to a staleness? Is it speaking to something that hasn't had attention, that needs some attention? Is it something that needs addressing? Is it just excitement? Sometimes we need change because it's exciting. And I'm talking about, I'm talking, there's different types of change. And, I don't mean throwing away something that is meaningful and has matter because it's no longer exciting. It's not that. But if something needs to be addressed in those areas, to have discussions, to have conversation, to say, you know what, this is stale or this isn't right. What can we do? And that's, of course, speaking to a relationship. What can we do to make things fresh again? Or if it's just you personally on a personal level, what can I do to freshen me up? What can I do to bring some excitement in my life? What matters to me? What's speaking to me? I think those things just need to be honored, and they can be simple changes. And I always like the idea of baby steps before big steps, because you get a taste and you get a feel for what it's like. And I feel the momentum that comes from that. And I think that when you honor what it is that matters to you, what your priorities are, what you want to do on earth, how you want to spend your time, those things are precious, and time is fleeting. I mean, we know that. Most of us are here in midlife, and we're examining, how do we want these next 10, 20, 30, 40 years to play out? And we can either sit on it or we can go. And I don't know about you, but I want to go. I want to explore. I want to discover. I want to experience. And if in that exploration, in that experience comes some weird, crazy, awkward, uncomfortable moments, of not finding my yoga studio for 2 months and feeling uncomfortable in my own body and frustrated with restaurant food and all that, you know what? I will take that. I will take that journey in the name of full expression of something new and complete and exciting in different areas of my life. And I'm learning and I'm growing and I'm discovering resilience within myself, and I'm discovering patience, and I'm actually discovering discovery. And that's a really cool thing. Those are my top 5 nuggets on change. I hope it's inspired some thought in you. I hope it's maybe given you a better understanding about me and what I share on my platform. And if I do post something like that, please don't worry. I'm okay. I would, no matter what, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. We're all going to be okay. I just want us to have these conversations. I want us to look at our lives as beautiful, unique, special, and precious as it is. Because it is, and there's so much that we can do. There's so much that we can experience. And I really want everybody to feel like they are experiencing their expression on earth to full capacity. Any ideas for future podcasts? Again, this is Saturday morning before Monday. Seed was planted and here we are. So I'm like that. That's kind of how I roll. If there's something going on in your headspace that you want me to talk about, please lay it out in the comments section below if you're watching on YouTube. And if you like what you're seeing and hearing, please subscribe to my channel on the YouTube platform. 2 things happen. On Monday, I've got the podcast, Over 50 and Flourishing. On Thursday, I've got my tutorials. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, I always ask you to rate, review, subscribe, and share Over 50 and Flourishing with those you know and you love. Share me with the women in your life. Let's explore these conversations, and let's live life to its fullest. Go out, be bold, and be blessed. I'll see you next week. A lot of us are into holistic health and wellness these days, looking for ways to balance our hormones, reduce inflammation, have more energy. The list goes on and on. Have you heard of a brand called Boncharge? It's a company that has a wide range of products to treat all kinds of things like wrinkles and fine lines, sore jaw, eczema. Now I'm talking specifically about the red light face mask, which is what I have and I use. It also helps with scar tissue, wound healing, relaxation, razor burns, even ingrown facial hair. The list goes on and on. Again, that red light face mask, you only need to use 10 to 20 minutes each day. You can do anything. I mean, if you're cooking, put it on, doing the laundry, even just relaxing on the couch and doing some breath work. No flicker, sleek and lightweight design, and a 1-year warranty. Boncharge ships worldwide and in rapid time. Go to boncharge.com/over50. Use coupon code over50 to save 15%. That's boncharge.com/over50. Use coupon code over50 and save 15%.